Sean Diddy Combs once bragged that no one could hold him down. Tonight, 12 anonymous New Yorkers are trying to do exactly that. After 7 tension-soaked weeks, the jury has already branded the 55-year-old mogul a trafficker on 4 felony counts, 2 under the Mann Act, 2 under federal sex trafficking statutes, and remains split on the most explosive allegation of all, racketeering conspiracy. Judge Arun Subramanian has sent them home with a warning to finish the job, promising the full, hard-nosed Allen charge at 11 a.m. if they're still deadlocked. In the gallery, Combs's mother swayed on her feet. His twin daughters ran out, sobbing. The empire that once orbited Bad Boy's flashy grin just tilted on its axis. Before dawn, the verdict could stretch to a life sentence or collapse into a mistrial that fuels rumors he'll flee on the first Gulf Stream out of Teterboro. Either way, hip-hop's reckoning is here. Buckle up as we trace the meteoric rise, the chilling evidence, the courtroom chess match, and the fallout no private island can outrun. Back in '97, Combs was more than a hitmaker. He was a cultural gravity well. Platinum singles like Mo Money, Mo Problems, a $100 million Sean John clothing line, Ciroc equity that quadrupled Diageo's vodka sales, every venture turned bright gold. By 2012, Forbes estimated his net worth at $550 million. By 2023, he cracked $1 billion. Club promoters called him the sun. Stand near him and you warmed, stand too close and you burned. But shine casts shadows. For years, industry whispers spoke of freak-offs, biometric lock rooms, hush money NDAs. Most tabloids blinked until November 2023, when singer and longtime partner Cassie Ventura filed a civil suit alleging physical abuse, drugs, and coerced sex with strangers. The case settled in 24 hours for a rumored $20 million. Yet the dam had burst. Former bodyguards, limo drivers, and back-office accountants began calling federal hotlines. Homeland Security quietly assembled a dossier. In March 2024, they raided Combs's Los Angeles mansion and Miami condo, hauling away hard drives, surveillance backups, and interior schematics for a soundproof playroom. Agents also seized a ledger, codenames only, listing jobs like runner, spotter, and most ominous, compliance. In depositions, one ex-assistant said the ledger was our heat map, who to call, who to pay. Another described suitcases of cash flown to parties, so girls got tips, guys kept quiet. The glamorous yacht shots that once ruled Instagram now looked in hindsight like the front porch of something predatory. Prosecutors say Combs' parties followed a script. Guests surrendered phones at the door. Runners offered cocktails pre-mixed from an upstairs bar. Cameras hidden behind mirrored panels captured every angle. If a guest balked, a handler reminded them that film lasts forever, then helpfully offered cash or flights home, contingent on an NDA. Witness Jane, a former Howard University scholarship student, testified she was ushered to a third-floor lounge, handed a pink pill, and told, "Smile for the archive." She awoke hours later in a bathtub of ice, still woozy, with fresh camera flashes in memory. Cassie's turn on the stand was worse. Jurors watched a 45-second Beverly Hills hallway clip where Combs punched her to her knees, dragged her by the hair, then calmly straightened his jacket. No audio, but the thud echoed through the room. A retired accountant testified that event bonuses on payroll spreadsheets were hush payments. A former security chief claimed he delivered unmarked thumb drives labeled insurance to a Midtown safe deposit box. When cross-examined, he said the term meant footage that keeps people loyal. One after another, witnesses sketched a machine, a pipeline from nightclub to mansion to silent bank transfer. By week 4, even courtroom sketch artists drew Combs with shoulders slumped. The myth of the benevolent party king was rotting in real time. Lead prosecutor Maureen Comey opened with a PowerPoint slide titled Enterprise, jet manifests, hotel blocks, Zelle logs tagged gift, and a map of flights from Atlanta, Miami, Paris, all converging on Combs-controlled properties. Over 30 witnesses took the stand. DJs, chauffeurs, a hotel night manager who heard screaming and smashing glass on a $10,000 a night floor. Comey's closing line: Sean Combs treated women like disposable party favors. You decide whether that ends tonight. Drew a collective inhale from the gallery. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo used a different weapon: time. He called no witnesses, betting the government's barrage might blur into tabloid fantasy. He mocked the word freak-off as lurid poetry and told jurors that wild, consensual sex is not a federal crime. His shorter, 35-minute closing pivoted on one phrase: reasonable doubt lives in the gaps. Court insiders say Agnifalo's real play was jury nullification, hoping one fan on the panel would refuse to criminalize a celebrity lifestyle. Body language experts watched juror number 12, a 30-something wearing limited edition Yeezys, nod whenever the defense mentioned consenting adults. 90 minutes after receiving the case, jurors requested transcripts of Cassie, Jane, and the hotel manager. Never a good sign for the defense. 3 hours later, a note arrived. We have reached unanimous decisions on counts 2 through 5. We are deadlocked on count 1. Judge Supermanian read it aloud. Someone in Combs's family gasped so loudly a bailiff turned. Reporters clocked Combs' response, 84 seconds without a blink. Hands clasped so tight his signet ring cut the skin. The foreperson meanwhile bit her lip. Juror number 7 wiped away tears. Juror number 3 stared at the ceiling as if memorizing tiles. Supermanian decided against the harsher Allen charge that night, instead sending them home with a milder reminder to re-examine your views. If they're still stuck by midday, he'll deliver the full directive. History shows it flips roughly 70% of hung juries. Should the split persist, prosecutors can retry count 1 alone. And here's the kicker. Everything jurors already judged to be true enters the next trial as fact. That means the government can tell the new panel, Combs is a convicted trafficker, now decide if it was organized crime. Even without RICO, federal guidelines hit hard. Statute minimum, typical range. What Combs faces SX trafficking. 1591, 15 years, 15 to 30 years. 2 counts, 30 to 60 years. Mann Act, 2,421. 10 years, 10 to 15 years. 2 counts, 20 to 30 years. Guidelines before judicial discretion. Stacked consecutively, that's 50 to 90 years. Functionally, a life sentence. Even concurrent time leaves a decade before parole. Federal asset forfeiture rules also allow seizure of any property traceable to SX offenses. Think Ciroc revenue streams, Bad Boys publishing catalog, and the 40 million Star Island mansion. Analysts liken it to the Weinstein Company fire sale, when creditors bought up future royalties for pennies on the dollar. RICO would vault penalties higher. The statute allows 20 years to life, plus enhancements, if underlying crimes involve minors or trafficking. Prosecutors want the enterprise label because it sends a cultural message. This wasn't kink, it was organized exploitation. Days before deliberations, gossip site Radar Online claimed Combs had told friends he'd leave the U.S. for good if only the racketeering count hung. The rumored itinerary: a Gulfstream G650 registered to a Delaware LLC, wheels up to Morocco or Dubai, final stop an undisclosed Bahamian island, already under contract. 2 aviation bloggers confirmed a G650 tagged N732DC filed standby flight plans last week out of Teterboro. Combs's attorneys call the report fiction. Yet security analysts note the FAA filed the plan under a priority humanitarian code, a move that can shorten clearance time, calm. Then there's the Trump card. In May 2025, former President Trump, asked by Capitol Beat whether he'd consider pardoning the mogul, quipped, "I always look at the facts. Sometimes people are treated unfairly." Agnifalo's inner circle reportedly sees a hung jury plus potential pardon as their Hail Mary. Political strategists scoff. Combs donated to Barack Obama, not Trump. But the mere possibility fuels Twitter wars and late-night punchlines. Even exile won't stop the civil onslaught. Houston Bulldog attorney Tony Busby filed 3 new suits last week. John A. says he was drugged and assaulted at a 2015 Los Angeles mansion party. John B. claims a nearly identical assault in 2019. A 25-year-old media consultant alleges she was lured to LA for production work, then forced into group sex filmed without consent. Busby petitioned petitioned for accelerated discovery, meaning sworn depositions could hit the public record before any RICO retrial. Prosecutors are quietly thrilled. Every new allegation widens the pattern that RICO needs. And Busby isn't stopping. Forbes counts more than a dozen Combs-related suits on his docket. Insiders expect fixer D-Rock and former choreographer KK, eyewitnesses to NDAs and payoff ledgers, to testify if Count 1 gets a second run. They were on the government's witness list, but never called. Prosecutors gambled they'd win without revealing too much. A hung jury resets the table, and those bombshells are now fair game. Combs' collapse reverberates beyond court. The Washington Post's lawsuit tracker visualizes an expanding web of allegations, prompting streaming platforms to rethink legacy playlists. Spotify reported a 34% curiosity bump in Bad Boy classics after opening statements, only to watch plays nosedive 61% when the hallway beating video leaked. 2 EDM festivals axed legacy hip-hop segments, citing artist safety concerns. #WHO trends daily, collecting stories of industry power imbalances. Even artists once eager to pose at Combs' white party are distancing themselves. Fashion label Sean John was mothballed. Diageo publicly paused Ciroc marketing. Yet a surprise EP titled Free Daddy surfaced on SoundCloud, Kanye West and King Combs chanting, "We won't sleep till we see Diddy free," igniting a fan war over loyalty versus accountability. Lines are being drawn, those who frame the trial as cancel culture gone federal, and those who call it overdue justice. By tomorrow afternoon, Sean Diddy Combs could be a convicted racketeer, or the government could be briefing witnesses for RICO Round 2. Either way, 4 felonies already etched his name beside Weinstein, Cosby, and Epstein. The myth of the untouchable mogul, insulated by hits, money, and swagger, has cracked. The question now shifts from will Diddy walk to how deep does the rot go? Will hip-hop confront its darkest open secret, or hit skip once the headline scrolls off screen? Drop your take below, because when those jurors file back in, the ripple effects will surge